Hello and welcome to episode 32 of our podcast, Smart Consulting Sourcing, the podcast about consulting procurement. My name is Hélène and I'll be your host today. Each week, I'll give you the keys to better use, manage, and source consulting services. This week, I'll discuss how to anticipate your consulting needs to start building relationship and intimacy with your providers. Last week, I explained why should finance and strategy get involved in decision-making of large consulting projects. So independent of whether you implement strict demand management or just filter project based on the cost, you need to have a close look at the most expensive project to ensure that they are strategic and made at the right timing. And for that purpose, you will need to have strategy and finance involved in the decision. So embarking them early in the process will just help you keep the deadlines and smooth the validation. You all know that anticipation is a key skill for procurement executives. That's what is separating strategic thinkers from tactical executors. So if your objective is to create more value for your company through your procurement work, now is the right time to start honing your anticipation skills. In procurement, the anticipation of the need comes from the ability to listen to your internal clients and translate their needs into a list of potential providers. It comes from the fact that 80% of your recurring needs are usually covered by 20% of your suppliers. And you can anticipate what suppliers will be used, when and how, by looking at both your past expenses and the strategy for the years to come. But these needs can evolve over time. So if you want to have the right picture in mind, you should organize regular checkpoints with your internal clients. And depending on the nature of the needs, if it's strategic, recurring, or spot, the nature of the relationship you build with the suppliers will be different. So let's start with your strategic needs. The principle for cementing the entire supply base for consulting services should be the same than for other categories. Often companies will choose the largest project as strategic needs because they capture most of their spend. But the spend should not be the only criterion. There are several ways that can help you define a strategic need. It can be a unique strategic skill, for instance, or a project with a significant impact on your organization. It can also be an essential task in your strategic roadmap. There's one thing that's extremely important to know is that the intimacy between a consulting firm and its clients can facilitate and accelerate projects. When you regularly work with consultants, they become plug and play. They know your industry, they know your organization, they know your culture. So you should plan regular meetings with your strategic suppliers to keep them in the loop and exchange about their performance assessments. So step 2 is to regroup your recurring needs. When you look at your strategy and the challenges that you're facing for the next 3 to 5 years, you can already identify some recurring, long-term, and well-defined needs for consulting services. And they can be either medium-sized projects designed with a repeat model, or small and mid-sized projects with similar scopes and methodology that can be performed by the same or by different consultancies. These recurring and duplicate projects are really good candidates for strategic management, and they should not be treated as the tail. You can integrate the suppliers into your list of preferred suppliers and build a frame contract to define the terms and negotiate on volumes. That's typically the right place to start leveraging second and third tier suppliers or small to mid-sized consulting firm, because that will help you decrease the average costs and cover your business line's niche or operational needs. Just like your strategic suppliers, you should have regular meetings with your recurring providers. Be particularly vigilant on the scope of their competencies. The industry has a 25% turnover rate, and the average tenure for a consultant is under 3 years. So since the offering of a boutique firm is closely linked to its partner's skill set, it's worth your time to check and adjust their profile in your books. And finally, you need to identify a list of additional providers for your spot projects. Those spot needs are the core of your tail spend. They are usually small, with a clear scope and little likeliness of sequel. But these needs can often be anticipated as well. So the first step is to check if your preferred suppliers have the skills to cover these needs at a reasonable cost. And if that's not the case, you can start exploring the supply market to identify potential suppliers. Once you spot a consulting boutique with the right profile, don't hesitate to contact them and ask them to pitch you their services. So keep the process light, because you are still in an exploratory phase and you have to tell them that. And that will not necessarily lead to a project, because many consulting firms complain about long and time-consuming qualification processes that never result in a project. And keep that list of potential providers updated by regularly checking it. So supplier relationship management, SRM, it's a huge topic for consulting services, and it should fit into the company's overall SRM practices. When you onboard and develop your consulting providers, you get them more ready to take on a project with your internal clients, and you directly increase the consulting project's success. So by anticipating your internal clients' needs, you shorten the buying process cycle and you make yourself indispensable for your colleagues. And last but not least, always having in hand a list of preferential providers will help you take control of the tail. That's it for today. Next time, I welcome Mark Jensen from the Consulting Growth Network to chat about sourcing process from a consultant's perspective. In the meantime, if you have any questions or want to learn more about what we do at Consulting Quest, just send me an email at hélène.laffitte with 2 F and 2 T's at consultingquest.com. You can also have a look at our website, smartconsultingsourcing.com, to know more about our book and download free templates and guides to improve your consulting sourcing. Bye and see you next week. Au revoir.